Hi, folks. Welcome to The Breaky. My name's Henry, and today, well, I was going to go into more of the programmable input-output device on the Pico so that we could do more with FujiNet and get closer to having a full bus, but that's been kicking my butt. So, to keep on the schedule that I've set for myself, and also so that you guys can see some of the grassroots things that are happening in the retro community here in Massachusetts, I wanted to show you around the New England Classic Gaming Meetup that we had here a few weeks ago in early February. So late-ish in 2023, I became aware of the New England Classic Gaming Group. It started with nothing more than a Facebook page and a few people who wanted to get together just to enjoy retro gaming, classic gaming, and to share it with the community. And it was very easy to do. It was at the Norfolk Public Library when they first started doing this, and they've continued to go to the Norfolk Public Library about every couple of months since. I was able to get there at their most recent meetup on February the 8th, where I demonstrated the TRS-80 color computer with the FujiNet, and I also demonstrated my Franken Coco with its 4th ROM and its not quite complete USB keyboard adapter. I was there along with a few other exhibitors and vendors. Again, a small group, however, still very nice to be around. Hey. How's it going, Kevin?
None of us were drinking and driving. But if you have
So, Kevin, what do you call your display?
This is a retrospective on Street Fighter II, and so we've got the PC Engine version of it, Super Nintendo, Genesis, the original arcade version, which is on Mr. FPGA, and then Street Fighter 1, which was ported to the PC Engine CD and TurboGrafx CD as Fighting Street, which is not a good game. It's a terrible game.
Let me switch this around real quick. It won't let me. Oh, well. And, Kevin, what is your, what town are you from?
So I'm from Holliston, and it's nice to come down here to Norfolk. It's not too far, and meet a lot of new friends and play some games together.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And just a quick thing. Do you mind if I put you on the Coco Nation today?
No, not at all.
All right. Awesome. Thank you very much. They've been asking me to show this off for months.
Yeah, go for it. I love it. We should get some more people down here for sure.
Absolutely. And yeah, I'll definitely make that announcement.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
Awesome.
And we're coming over to Caleb with your 8-bit widgets, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Hey.
And tell me a bit about where you're from and what you do.
Well, I'm down in up in Randolph from here, and I just make various game peripherals for classic systems like the 7800 here and other systems. You can kind of see over here. This is a thing I made called the. So I'll show you real quick. This is a thing I'll call MCP, Mega Console Protector. These are essentially made for each unique system. I get this to come out nicely. These are designed to come out. There you go. So as you can see here. This is a device that basically is meant to be a socket protector for the 7800 specifically, but I make them also for the Coleco and television, TAR 2600, Odyssey 2, and the list keeps growing. So you take this, you simply slide it in here, line up with the PCB inside the socket there, get it in, so get this going, there you go, line up just right. It's designed to be very specific to the specific system here. 1 second, get it.
The demo gods are not appreciating you today.
Exactly, now it's... There we go. It's like you have to get these, pat your head in, rub your tummy at the same time. There we go. Shoot.
But the idea being once you get it in there, it stays there and you don't take it out.
And that's why, exactly, but with regular cartridge slide it. So you take, for example, another thing I make for the back bit, these are basically sleeves that are help guide the game in. So if I take this back bit, I plug it into this, okay? Goes right in, power it up. And you see the back bit. So the idea here is that this thing acts as a socket protector to protect the wear and tear in the pins, but also dirt and dust and stuff. So you turn this off, and you take this out, and close this lid, and it's protected. Another thing I've got here, this new thing that just came out, it's called the Reversinator. So if anyone here is left-handed, like I am, the original Sega control stick was made like this, right-handed, joystick on the right side, buttons on the left, and I don't like that. I would prefer it to be like this, so I thought it would be nice if I could just sort of make something that would reversinate it, which it does. And also, a side effect of that, for right-handed people who don't like the joystick on the left side, with the Reversinator, they can now play the games like this, where they use the D-pads on the right side. So we just take this, this guy, this one, and we plug this in here. There we go. Right. We'll take Mario. This is the Mario Brothers for the 7800. Socket it in there. Boot it up. And
You were not going to be controversial.
all right, set. And now we can play with the joystick like this, the way I would prefer it. And for some of you who would like it as well. So there you go. So yeah, so that's just kind of it in a nutshell. That's the Reversinator. So that's another thing that's now available. 8bitwidgets.com is my website. Everything I sell is on Etsy and eBay as well. It's usually pretty easy to search the things. And again, these backbit sleeves are also, like this one's for the Sega Master System. This just came out as well. I'm refining this one a little bit more. It's not quite ready. I want to make sure it's perfect. But the general idea is that you would take your backbit, and this is the Sega Master System sleeve right here. You just take this, just slide in like that, and now this will socket into the system and stay there. And the idea is it's optional really, but you can design it in such a way that either it stays kind of permanently inside, so you can just take it out, or it comes out like a cartridge. So it's more of a preference thing. But yeah, so that's that. Another good thing is fun. Here's another advantage of this 7800 MCP is that this fixes the problem that some 7800 owners experience, where they couldn't get things like the supercharger from the 2600 to work with the 7800 because it won't physically fit inside the cartridge slot. There's a number of Activision games that also suffer the same problem. Well, this takes care of that. So because this has a slightly wider base inside it, it compensates for that, allowing any 2600 or 7800 game to socket in nicely. So you get power, you boot it up, and there you go. If you want to load your favorite Star Path game, there's for the supercharger here, and you can load up those games. So yeah, so that's kind of the stuff I brought today. Make other things like couplers for games like Robotron, where it takes two joysticks and kind of combines them into one. I didn't bring everything today. It was kind of a more of a demo day for some of the newer things I was working on. And we've got some other really cool stuff coming soon, but it's still just a little too soon to talk about that. But by the next event, I will definitely have some cool stuff to show off for the Intellivision.
Awesome. But that coupler that you were talking about, you've got that so it couples like two Atari-style joysticks?
Right. There's couplers for the 7800, the 5200. Pretty much most of the major systems that had any kind of game that used two joysticks that were meant to be bound together. For the 2600, for example, there's actually two couplers I make. One is specifically for Spy Hunter, because Spy Hunter had a weird setup where there was an actual coupler that came with the game, and it rotated the joysticks so that one was 90 degrees right, so that essentially your fire buttons are both sort of facing inward together, where more traditional like games like say was it Temple of Doom and a number of other like Robotron or Champ games, Robot War, where two joysticks are for like moving and shooting. Those are just your more traditional orientation, where the fire button's in the upper left-hand corner on both of them. So yeah, so it's just kind of had to make them based on the particular needs. Some some couplers can cover a larger number of games. Others might just be for one or two games. But it's a game changer for that. The Intellivision coupler, for example, is huge, because if you've ever played games like Advanced Dungeons and Dragons or Tron Deadly Discs, the idea is that when you use the number pad above to shoot and the disc to move, they cancel each other out if you try to press a fire button while moving. And that's just the hardware itself. It's not the program. It's just the way it was designed. However, if you use the number pad of the second controller and the disc of the first controller, they don't conflict. And these are all single-player games. So essentially, you can move the disc and then shoot at the same time, and there's seamless movement. And it is literally a game changer, because now you can run away from an enemy and then shoot without stuttering along the way. Yeah. In Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, if you're ever in difficult mode like I play, it's that demon comes at you super fast, and it's literally you got milliseconds to respond in time. So yeah, so that's kind of the stuff we keep working on, and got lots more stuff coming up this year. So
awesome. Well, I'm definitely putting this up on the Coco Nation today when I'm on there.
Awesome.
And I know that one of the interests that guys in the Coco community are going to have is definitely with those couplers, because we do use Atari-style joysticks.
Cool.
Our platform uses analog joysticks,
okay.
So we run the adapters for that. But having the couplers for something like Robotron or other two joystick games, that's a little bit of a game changer, I think.
Well, and again, if there's unique controllers that are maybe more common in the Coco community, I mean, the 2600 is obviously pretty much a de facto standard, because you can buy even new ones today. But if you do have other controllers or something that might be more niche, I'm always happy to look at other setups, like those joysticks you showed me before. The things I could see it very interesting to have two analog joysticks for a game. If a homebrew developer wanted to write maybe a new game that could take advantage of of a special setup that wouldn't be possible without it. I did the same thing with the TI-99, the pain sticks. I made 2 different versions of those couplers for the original pain sticks, the ones everyone knows more commonly, but even there's a little stubbier version that were around. And so I was fortunate enough to get my hands on a couple of those, and I was able to make couplers for each of those. And it's not about it's partially because I know that as a developer, if you don't want to make a game for something that people can't get their hands on, like a special controller that there were only 20 of them made. That means your audience is 20 people. But if you know that there's accessibility to reasonably affordable and accessible parts that could enhance that game to let a new game be made that wouldn't be possible without that accessory, I think that's still a good balance where it makes it so that it's still possible, but it's not going to be a thing where it's a burden on the gamer to try to scrape together all these rare things.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Caleb. Appreciate it.
All right. Yeah.
I'm going to come over and talk to Tim, who is right now masterminding the I'm sorry, what do we call this again?
The show is the New England Classic Gaming Show. And it was Caleb and myself and Ed Mello from Opcode Games that came up with the idea last year in 2024 to meet, and it's just kind of grown.
It's awesome. It's still nice because it's still nice and intimate and smallish, but now we're on Facebook and we're on Discord as well. Is that correct?
And Jen Callier is handling our social media. So we're on Instagram and TikTok, and I'm not sure what the other ones are because I'm not much into social media. But I will tell you what I'm doing here today. Back in 1990, I started a newsletter called the 2600 Connection, focusing all on the Atari 2600, and I still sell these today in old school print format. You can get this on Amazon if you look up 2600 Connection, or I still make the books. I print them, and I have an old school binding machine here with a coil, and while people are coming through, I'm making the books, and I offer the books for sale for about $20 each, and I have 4 volumes that span from 1990 until we ran the newsletter until 2009. There were 2 other people, Russ Perry Jr. and Al Bakil, that took over the reins after I stopped, and they didn't want to handle the distribution, so they gave me the rights. So we published 100 issues. There's 4 volumes, and if you have any questions about those or work out a deal. 2009, we branched out and started publishing actual video game cartridges for the 2600. So we make the cartridges with new internal circuit boards, but for right now, we're using existing common cartridges and kind of cannibalizing them.
So digging up all the old ETs?
Actually, the ETs are worth it, so we usually don't destroy those. But Caleb has I've been working with Caleb, and he's been 3D printing some shells for me, so we don't have to destroy any of the old cartridges. And then we kind of use like a DVD case with a color printed insert, and these sell for $35. I did not program the game. It was programmed by a friend of mine, Michael Salzman. We've also branched out to a friend of mine is a Game Boy programmer. And these are a little pricey. This was one that we released for Halloween, and it's in an official Game Boy case. The cases are a little pricey, and the cartridges are a little pricey to make, so we sell these for $50. And then today I'm demoing Death Race, which is our 2600 game, and we also have a 5200, which was like the next generation. And a lot of people didn't like the analog sticks, so I'm demoing a friend of mine has a company called Retro Game Boys. I believe he's out of Chicago, but I'm a big fan of his joystick controllers. That's a digital stick. So playing Pac-Man with analog stick isn't much fun.
I don't doubt it. There have been several in the Coco community. There have been several games that we've had that play very much better with the digital stick, to the point where the analog interface that the Coco uses has not been modified, but adapters have been made so that you can use a digital stick.
So you can use like an Atari. You can use an Atari standard Atari stick with the Coco.
Not without getting an adapter, but
Yeah.
we can do it once we get the adapter.
That's great.
Yeah.
Now
and-
I want a Coco.
Well, I'm sure we can help you out, because coming up here at the at the very first part of May is the Glenside Cocoa Fest in Glenside, Illinois, and yeah, it's about it'll take me about 14 hours to drive there, but it is the cocoa thing to go to if you're going to do cocoa. So you're welcome to come in, and also we're on the Coco Nation every Saturday starting at 2:00.
Yeah, and I've seen your YouTube channel. I'm a subscriber of your YouTube channel, and Henry, I appreciate your enthusiasm.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So I have fun when I go to the New England Classic Gaming Group meetups. And not because there's a whole bunch of people there, although that in and of itself would be fun, but because it's a grassroots organization. It's a small organization that I can be a part of, and that speaks to a small community. And again, if you happen to be local to the area and want to show up, just show up. It's at the Norfolk Public Library. It's free of charge to get in there. And under normal circumstances, we usually have some kind of raffle going on. It's an easy half-day thing. Usually starts at 10, ends at about 2. And yeah, it can be fun to be there. And I would love to see you there. If you live anywhere nearby, again, I won't be able to see you this time, but when we have our next one after the April meetup, I would love to see you there. So come on by and support retro and classic gaming right here in the eastern half of Massachusetts, where there's surprisingly little, but we can make this be a much larger thing. Hey folks, thanks for joining me on The Break Key today. I do hope you've enjoyed this little look into what's happening in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and do be sure to like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate every single ounce of support you send my way. Thank you so much for stopping in at The Break Key.